Welcome to Motoring Northwest. It's me, Mark Stone, and the new Skoda Kamiq, which, as you can see, bears quite a strong resemblance to the little Fabia. So you can more or less say it's the SUV version of the Fabia. Small estate car. It's meant to compete against things like the Renault Captur and the Nissan Juke. In this colour, white, it does look a little bit bland, but never mind. It's inherently not a bad little car. Beneath the bonnet, you have a 3-cylinder, 1000cc, 95 horsepower car that will give you about 46 to the gallon. Maximum speed 112 miles per hour, should it be useful to you at all. And it hits 62 in 11.1 seconds. Right, you can see, estate car. It rides nicely on 17-inch alloys in this instance. 205/55 tyres, the eco jobs, so it should theoretically save you even more petrol. Mated to a 5-speed gearbox, manual gearbox. A 6-speed is available, but you will need to get the SEL. This is the basic SE. The SEL, which Skoda claim will be the best seller, also comes with a few additional toys on it. These toys are the sort you can live without. It'll just be just a little bit nicer inside. Room for 5, but I work on the theory more room for 4. It's relatively Spartan inside. It's nicely finished inside, but it is still relatively Spartan. You have 2 3/4 turns lock to lock, thick leather steering wheel. The big claim to fame with this is the big central touchscreen that controls a whole variety of everything. The one interesting thing is the radio seems to control itself, since it changes channels when it wants to, not when you would particularly want it to. So that is something you need to look into. It's the gesture screen. Basically walking up to the car seems to be sufficient close proximity to make it want to do what it might want to do. The other thing is, it has the new USB-C ports, which means, yes folks, you've got to go and buy yet another cable if you want to plug your phone in, though it does nearly everything on Bluetooth, and you have a 12-volt socket up front and in the boot. All in all, it's not a bad thing. It isn't an inspirational car. It doesn't inspire you to want to jump behind the wheel and drive it, but for the market and the audience it's intended for, it's not a bad thing. Usual latest Skoda cutting edge creases and folds, looks very good. You've got the modded high intensity lights fore and aft. Drop the back seats down and you have a very, very spacious small estate car. It once again follows the SUV edict of all the manufacturers. Apparently they are still increasingly popular. 58 to 60% of all cars sold are now SUVs. It's not a bad little thing. When you're setting off out of a junction though, you will need to give it the beans, for the simple reason it doesn't pick up especially well from a standing start on light revs. So you will need to make sure that you've got your revs up for when you're setting off out of a junction, especially a busy junction. Apart from that, very, very easy to drive, very light to drive. There's nothing inherently wrong with it if you're after a car such as this. Personally though, I'd stick with the Fabia. I still think the Fabia is a great little car. Price wise, this particular one, the SE, starts at £19,135. This particular one, with a few toys added, is £21,925. As I said, most of the toys you can live without. You don't need the pearlescent paint. You don't need the silver insert on the dashboard. The only thing that is purely cosmetic, and that's it. So the SE is probably the one to go for, though they claim the SEL with a few more toys will be the one that will find the greatest of favour. If you want to read the full review, go to motoringnorthwest.com or listen to the Backseat Driver Radio Show, Drystone Radio 103.5 FM, where you will be able to hear a more in-depth review of my radio show.